Hey everyone, and welcome to an episode about doing texture bases. So I've been doing these videos now for almost 4 weeks, so I thought I would treat myself, and I got a delivery from Gap Games with some extra bits and pieces that I didn't have. So here I've gotten some grass because I thought it would be cool if I could add sort of alien forage kind of things to the texture bases, but more importantly I bought a bag of sand. So maybe I'm a bit of a sucker because it was $13, but I just couldn't find any nearby that I could use that was suitable for my purposes. So I've got some rocks from my garden here and some super glue I got from a discount store, and I just thought I'd glue some of these bigger pieces onto the base. So this is the same video that I used for my Necron Immortals, so check that one out if you haven't seen it already. And you can see in the top left, Luna, one of my cats, has come to see what I'm up to. So with this technique, I'm just kind of finding interesting shaped rocks that kind of add a bit of a statement piece to the texture of the base. I stupidly did some giant ones. I think right there I did a giant rock, which I kind of regret, but super glue is pretty permanent, so I just had to live with that decision. But once I went through all the different bases and glued on different sized rocks and everything, it was ready for the next step. So I've got my bag of sand that I spent money on, and I've also got a tin that's been hanging around the house for a long time. And so what I saw a cool trick was that you can empty the bag of sand into the jar or any sort of container you've got lying around the house. And then what you can do is just dip the base, once it's covered in PVA glue, into the jar and kind of just swirl it around until you've got enough of the texture that you want. So this is the PVA glue that I bought when I was getting my nicer brushes, and so I picked this up at the same time, but you can get this stuff from anywhere, like Coles and Woolies and stuff. It's got different names on it, like sometimes it's called school glue for some reason, but yeah, I just wanted to find some normal PVA glue. I put way too much in here. I had no idea how much I needed. I went a bit overboard. So I was just trying to apply it here. So these are the cheap $2 Kmart brushes I was using because I didn't care if I ruined it with the glue or not. But I kind of picked a too big flat one that didn't really work for getting in between the little Necron legs here. So it was a bit awkward, but I was just trying to apply where I want the sand to go. So I'm just trying to avoid getting any on the model, which was a little bit trickier than I thought. But yeah, definitely use a different brush, maybe a more narrow one. And then I just wipe off any excess glue that I've got on the kind of rim of the stand. And then I've got my trusty jar of sand, and I just kind of dip it in there and give it a good shake. I hadn't got the technique down pat because it was the very first time that I was doing it here. So you can see I've kind of missed a little bit. Some of the areas it's not evenly applied, but it doesn't really matter because it's kind of going for an uneven textured look anyway. So I was kind of happy with how it kind of shaped up. I'm just trying to get any excess stuff and put it back because at $13 a bag of sand, it's the most expensive sand I've ever seen. So just trying to conserve any. So yeah, this is what it looked like. Actually, I thought it looked really cool. Like if you were going for a desert kind of look, it's almost done. But instead I was kind of wanting to do kind of Earth, Moon, kind of alien planet vibe. So yeah, the colors weren't really what I was after, but yeah, I kind of get why yeah, it's easy to do this approach. If you've got the sand that's already the color and the consistency that you want, you could kind of be doing this and you're finished already. So yeah, I applied this to the 10 Necron Warriors and the 3 Scarabs, so this is what the finished product looked like. I think as I said, I think I was pretty impressed actually with how realistic and ready to go it kind of already looked, especially compared to my earlier bases, which I can put up a link If you haven't watched them before, it's already a huge leap improvement in the last 4 weeks. So now that I've got them all done, what you need to kind of do is apply another coat over the top. And what this does is kind of, when you think about it, the glue is just on the base. So there's nothing really holding the sand at the top down. So this kind of creates like a glaze or like another layer to keep the sand. You can see here when I've applied the glaze, the sand's already moving around and the rocks are already moving around. That's probably because I was too impatient and I didn't wait long enough, and I just wanted to keep going. So definitely recommend like leaving it for like a day or at least several hours. I'm also watering down the glue as well for the glaze so that it's kind of easier to apply, and you don't want to put too much on because then it will completely erode the texture of the sand. It'll just create this kind of plastic, shiny, hard surface. So it's kind of a balancing act between applying too much and not enough. But yeah, you can definitely see as I'm applying it here, the sand's moving around. So I've definitely done something wrong. But yeah, I'm just kind of dabbing it on so that way the sand doesn't move as much. Whereas if I'm stroking it on, it's moving it around. I also remember that these scarabs aren't glued on, so I moved them out the way. So it's 10 times easier to get to the base. So yeah, I just repeat this glaze onto all 13 bases again. I totally did not expect it to take so long doing this base adventure, so I really have a newfound appreciation for people that have these really cool and interesting bases on all their armies, because it takes a lot of time. So this is what it looks like with the second glaze, but the glaze hasn't dried yet. It will dry clear, but in here you can kind of see it's kind of milky. So then for my moon thing, I'm mixing Corax White and Abaddon Black together to create this kind of moon grey colour. And I'm applying it to the base, but I'm leaving the rocks, the big, I guess, feature piece rocks alone. The grey I kind of created was a bit darker than I wanted. I guess when I think of the moon, I think of it almost as like a really white grey, but I kind of made a dark grey kind of by accident. So this is Rakarth Flesh. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but I got that in one of my Imperium magazines and I've been excited to use it. So I'm applying those to the big feature rocks now. And then I'm getting my Agrax Earthshase. So one of the kind commenters let me know that it kind of creates a brown layer. So I thought that'd be really, good for a base. So I'm applying the shade just all over, including the feature rock. Just to kind of highlight any of the like natural divots and crevices. And then this Averland Sunset I've had since my wife gave me the original pack for Christmas, and I haven't had an opportunity to use it. So I've got my really old cheap Kmart brush here that you can see is literally disintegrating, but I'm just applying like a dry brush over the base. I'm not doing the feature rocks, and I just thought it would add some kind of interesting color, kind of alien vibe. And then a Corax White again with another cheap Kmart brush, and this one I'm doing all over, including the feature rock, and this is just kind of highlighting the very tips, just like how like the sunlight would capture the edges of the thing to really kind of give it some depth and kind of capture that light element, I guess. So this is what and then I needed to do the rims. I just thought this time I'd do it black. I've been doing in my other videos like a grey video, but grey texture, but I think black's probably just classic. So this is the finished product. So I didn't end up going ahead with the grass because I felt like the moon doesn't really have any vegetation. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it's looking. Let me show you the original model I did, plus the one in the Immortal video, and you can see the huge improvement. But yeah, let me know what you think. Any comments, anything to improve. But thanks for watching.